everyone, welcome back to Simrai Fashion Academy YouTube channel once again for another interesting tutorial. So today's tutorial is going to focus on a keyhole bustier, which one of my students requested I should make for her. So I decided to make this video to show you how to go and how to draft this keyhole. So coming over to keyholes, I want to let you know that there are so many kinds of keyholes that comes out. Keyholes can be used on the bustier, and keyholes can as well be used on a corset. So right away, the keyhole pattern we are making right now is the one you are seeing right there on the thumbnail. So I'll be making the front bodice only because the back bodice is quite simple. So I want to also use this opportunity to address this particular issue, okay, which came up on our WhatsApp group, okay, this morning, concerning your armhole being tight. After making a dress, you notice that the armhole is tight, your client cannot raise up your hands and all that. So that is a result of the armhole depth. So if you don't actually use the actual armhole depth, definitely you are going to have that issue, okay, not being able to raise your hand when you make a dress. When you make a dress, you are supposed to make to raise your hand, and that means if you are drafting your armhole on the basic bodies, the formula you are using for the armhole for the basic bodies has to be the same formula for your armhole for the basic sleeve. So for your basic bodies, I want to start afresh to address this issue. You can see my pattern is plain. I've not actually made anything on it yet. What I have here is my shoulder line, and what I have here is the center front line, okay. So now I'm going to impute all my vertical measurements. So all my vertical measurements starts from the shoulder. The first vertical measurement is my bust point, and I'm going to make that mark on 2 points. And the second vertical measurement is my under bust. I'm making it on 2 points, and the last one is my waistline. I'm making it on 2 points as well. So this is the front bodice pattern which I'm drafting right here, and I'm drafting a quarter of the bodice, a quarter. So that means every circumference we are going to impute right here is going to be on a quarter. So I've made these lines, but my lines are not complete because the chest line is not here. For the chest line, you are not going to measure it in the measurement class at all. The chest line is taken right on the drafting paper. And how do you determine your chest line? Your chest line is determined by your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1. So if your bust you are working with is 40, you will divide by 6, you add plus 1. Whatever figure you have, if you have 8.25, please use 8 inches. If you have 8.1, please use 8 inches. If you have 7.9, use 8 inches, okay? Unless you have maybe 7.5, you have to use 7.5 or 7.75, you use it exactly. But once it's more than 7.75, you can use 8 inches. Or if you can find those little figures on your tape, you can as well go ahead and use them. So for this particular tutorial, I'm going to use 8 inches. But before I use that 8 inches, note that you need your natural neckline. The natural neckline is determined by your bust. You will still use your bust divided by 12. So if you are working with bust 40, divide by 12. Here I have 3.25. So I'm going to measure exactly that 3.25 from the center front. I'll measure 3.25 as my width, and I'll come down by 3.25 as my depth. So once that is done, I'm going to connect my neckline, as you can see right here. So this is my neckline. I've connected it. Now I'm going to take my shoulder measurement, divide by 2. From the center front, I'll place my shoulder measurement, divide by 2. This is it. And I come down from that point by 1 inch. So if I come down by 1 inch, I'm going to slant my shoulder because the human shoulder is not as straight as this. So once I have done this, the next thing I'm going to do is to measure the 8 inches which we calculated right here on the chest line, which is bust divided by 6 plus 1. So from here, I'll now measure the 8 inches to determine my chest line. So to get it accurately, I love to place my tape on the shoulder line, and I'll add 8 plus 1, which is the 1 inch slope, and I still have 9 inches. To have a straight line, I'll place my tape on the shoulder line and I'll measure another 1 inch. So once that is done, I'm going to rule my line across. So on this, I call this the chest line, and I call this the bust point line. I call this the under bust point line, and I call this my waist line. So the vertical measurements now has been determined. So the next thing we want to talk about now is the horizontal measurement. But before we do that, I'm going to transfer what I have on the shoulder, which is 7.5. I'll bring it back to the center front 7.5 and make a mark. And then I'm going to rule my line. So I will measure the 8 inches once again to be sure I have it, and find the midpoint. From the midpoint for the front armhole, make sure you go in by 0.75. If you don't go in by 0.75, you will not be having your armhole perfectly fitted. So you can see I use my straight line to connect to this point. So this time I want to measure my center front. That is I'm measuring my bust circumference divided by 4. Bust 40 divided by 4 will give you 10 inches. So I make a mark at 10 inches and extend my line to that point. I come in with my pattern ruler. You will see how I place my pattern ruler. So the way you place your pattern ruler can also affect your armhole, okay? And it makes it either to be tight or to be too loose as well. So you need to be careful when you are placing your pattern ruler. So you can see how I place that ruler. So now the next thing I want to make mark is my bust span. That is the nipple to nipple point. From the center front, I'm going to measure nipple point divided by 4. That is bust span divided by 4. This is what I have, and I'll transfer it back to the waistline. So I'm going to draw a straight line to that point. And I need a dart for this dress to contour my upper and my waist dart. So the dart I'm using is 1.5. That is 0.75 here, 0.75 here. Because I'm going to still alter this pattern, I'm connecting it directly to the bust point, and I'm connecting it directly to the bust point. So now my waist divided by 4. Waist circumference divided by 4 is 9. I will add 1.5, which is this that I added here. Can you see that? And I now extend my line. So once my line is extended, the next thing I'm going to do is to close up what I have on the sides. The side is closed, and you have your full basic bodice. Next is to impute your bust dart. The bust dart is the different in length for the front length and the different in length for the back length. And this is taken directly from the bust point downwards. So I come down with 2 inches because that is my difference. I divide it by 2, and I'm going to connect it right there. From these 2 inches, I'll connect to the bust point. I return back to the half of it, and I come out by 0.75. I connect the 0.75 to this point and take it back to the chest line to close up my dart. And we are done with the basic body. So anything you are building inside here, soulmates, you will not have any issue with raising hand or coming down. So for a perfect basic sleeve, I also have a detailed video on how to make a basic sleeve on this channel. You can just scroll down to the down part of this channel, and you will see a perfect basic sleeve that will fit in exactly to your dress. So you'll be able to raise your hand whenever you make clothes for people. They can raise their hands comfortably, they can drive, they can do whatever thing they want to do. So it's high time for us to jump into the real tutorial of today, and the tutorial of today is the keyhole neckline. So for this particular keyhole neckline, this is how we are going to draft it. It's actually on the neckline like a turtleneck. So the first thing I'm going to do from the center front, I'm going to come out by 1 inch or 1, okay, let me do 1/4, okay, 1/4 is okay, and from that 1/4 I'm going to come down again by another 1/4, okay, that is 1.25. I came from here by 1.25 and I came down by 1.25. So at that point I am going to bring in my pattern ruler now, and I'm going to follow the curve I have on that dress. Okay, so before we do this, please let us talk about what we are supposed to do first, soulmates. Okay, please don't always forget this.